Hey everyone, Steve here, and before we get started with Snowbreak and its current affairs, and why am I streaming on Fridays, yeah, some unfortunate news that Hayden Panettiere, best known as Kairi and Shion from Kingdom Hearts, Dot from A Bug's Life, and Kate from Alpha and Omega sadly passed away. Read that, may and I'm being entirely true, but I read this on Wikipedia that she may have died of cardiac arrest, and yep, she shall be missed a lot, BJ, and yeah, today too, we'll get to that one reply before we're on the post, but yeah, may she rest in peace. My condolences go out to her friends, family, and colleagues and such. And what's even sadder that her brother died like 3 years prior to Hayden's passing too, which yeah, it's also devastating. So yeah, but yeah, night shifts are killing me, and so much. Oh yeah, yep. You've got an uphill battle, I see, BJ. But yeah, so why am I streaming on Fridays instead of the usual streaming times like either Saturday, Sunday, or whatnot? Well, that's because Alex's schedule on Sundays gone out of whack, and we may have to do the Halo streams on Saturdays, which is tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. So, and why? Which is why I decided to do this, today. Felt long and hard is either to do this today or do this on Sunday, and you know, I think I might as well just do this today, just get this out of the way. Might as well free up Sunday, so yeah. But yeah, so Snowbreak's current state right now. Let me just illustrate this. Yeah. Nada. And this was their last update for the system. And events is nada. And the event calendar, nada. And the echo for summing out the Heimdall girls operatives. Just the basic. Yeah, needless to say, for those who are watching over on Twitch, Kick, or even on Blaze stream, yeah, the title says it all. Game's in dire straits at the moment. Who knows? Especially given that I've seen that there's figurines of Snowbreak that's been made. They're being made, so yeah, awkward timing. And speaking of awkward timings, yeah, Shipped Up hired a new person, and which got the fans concerned. Which all I have to say is, yeah, it's a bold strategy they've got for Shipped Up. Let's see if it pays off for them. Which, speaking of bold strategies, yeah. So initially, Winnipeg Comic Con made a bold choice of bringing Troy Baker. Unfortunately, it did not pay off for them because he's unable to come due to scheduling conflicts, which kind of sucks. So, and of course, Neverness is suffering. Well, I wouldn't say suffering, but they're facing some AI backlash, of course. Of course, the AI scrutiny is going on, and it's not just a Neverness problem. Apparently, their latest assets or whatnot they use AI generated shit, so yeah. Well, I will say though, I mean, unlike Nikkei or Neverness, which they do have dedicated servers, Snowbreak did not have dedicated servers, which is why it's in such a state it is in right now. But yeah, so enough rambling. Okay, so last stream we managed to get through, well, halfway through, finished the first half of Fragments of Truth, stopped pro headway, and now we are at the second half with Progress 5, 6, dead end, neck and neck match, Progress 7, closing scene, and Progress 8. So, 4 cutscenes, 3 stages, and a boss fight, so for good balance, and let's get right to it. Later, with a temporary access code issued by the Acropolis's top brass, we unlocked the door to the lab deep within the contaminated section and stepped inside. This must be the place where the Acropolis keeps curios.
ここの地図はあらかじめ調査機に入れておいたから、分析員こっちに向かうよ。分析員お兄ちゃん、こっちです。
The sudden mechanical voice made by both Vidya and me paused in awkward silence. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention too that I had to change the microphone settings. It was on the Mayano's by itself, and now I'm using the NVIDIA broadcast whatchamacallit program for it, which the mic's still there and such, so still working on the kinks and such. Although not too sure if you hear the keyboard typing, which here, don't want me. Okay, just barely. Okay. Saw a bit, but yeah, just barely so. Okay. Anyways, awkward silence.
フリティア先輩とプログラムを作ってた時、こういう設定は入れてなかったと思うんだけど。
I forgot this game does not have dedicated shortcuts for, well, the controller does, but not so much the keyboard and mice for dedicated shortcuts. Not like Nikkei, but yeah. Anyways.
私は学習能力が高いんです。確かに最上位の学習権限を与えたけど、何でも勉強してほしいわけじゃないからね。では、学習してほしくないものを入力してください。それは今はそんな時間ないから。わかりました。分析員お兄ちゃん、こっちです。
As silly as it was, the back and forth managed to lift our spirits. We fought hard to get here, and finally, the last stretch went surprisingly smoothly. It only took us a few minutes to locate the designated storage site for item YX111, the Observer's Blade. Once again, we used a temporary access code to unlock the curio contaminated case. Inside, just as in the photos, the blade was wrapped in a piece of cloth. That gray fabric looked familiar somehow. I couldn't quite place it, but I was sure I'd seen a cloth just like it before. The thought lingered at the back of my mind as I reached toward the blade. Given its exposure to tree-borne contamination, I was the only one who could safely handle it. Grasping the hilt through the cloth, I gently lifted the blade, then peeling back the upper fold of fabric to reveal the blade beneath. A chorus of gasps broke out beside me.
あれ？なんでないの？分析、僕ナイフが見えないぞ。布の形からすると。ここに何かがあるはずなんですが。
So this is the curio's anomalous property? I could feel it. The hilt was solid in my grip. But as I reached out with my other hand to touch the blade itself, there was nothing there, just empty air. That's when Frida, staring at the fabric-wrapped hilt in my hand, suddenly froze, and then her eyes lit up.
なるほど。だ 量子科学研究室で研究してるんだ。分析員、私分かったかも。観測の刃は観測されたら物質世界で崩壊する特性があるんじゃないかな。要するに私たちに見られると消えちゃうんだと思う。
It disappears the moment it's observed. So that's why it had to be kept wrapped. I folded the cloth carefully back over the blade, and there it was again. Solid, unmistakable, right beneath my fingertips.
分析員さん、つまりこういうことですよね。被害者を改めて検査しても他の死因が見つからなかったら、本当の死因はもしかして。
Exactly. Good job, Laplace. Good job. And yes, for those who missed out, yeah. Vidya's voice actress in Japanese shares the same as Laplace and Ludmilla from Nikkei. And of course, she was also Edelgard from Fire Emblem Three Houses, which, of course, let that sink in. Yeah, have the notes still there, so... The secret behind this blade is why we ran into so much resistance getting here. Now that we confirmed the blade's true nature, a lot of pieces began falling into place. But that didn't mean the case was closed. Identifying the method and the culprit was only half the battle. Knowing is also half the battle. Okay, I'll stop with G.I. Joe jokes, even though I never really watched G.I. Joe that much. Or I grew up watching G.I. Joe, but yeah, anyways, brilliant, unearthing motive, exposing what lay beneath the surface. That was a different challenge entirely. Suddenly, from the corner of the lab, the detective bot let out a shrill alarm. Instinctively, I secured the observer's blade inside the containment case. Everyone closed in protectively around Lizzie, staying alert. But after a few tense seconds, nada. Nada. I turned and saw the detective bot wiggling pitifully on the floor like a stranded beetle, unable to get back up no matter how hard it tried. I mean, the bot doesn't have any limbs, so obviously, we can see why I can't get up.
何かに足をすくわれました。助けてください。
Yeah, boy. I walked over and helped it up. You okay?
自己診断完了しました。私は大丈夫です。ありがとうございます。分析員お兄ちゃん。
If you really wanted to take me, maybe tone down that syrupy tone a notch. Or two. But I kept that comment to myself. Looking around, I noticed the floor was a mess. Scattered tools, stacked crates, stray wires. No wonder the robot had tripped. As I straightened up, I caught Vidya staring at me. Cheeks cupped, eyes wide, completely entranced. Vidya? What the hell's wrong with you?
いえ、何でもありません。私が転んでも、分析員さんはこうして起こしてくれますか？
Yeah, sure. I mean, if that was Ludmilla, yeah, sure. Plus, yeah, I think she'll be fine. Of course I would.
わかりました。
Cheeks flushed, an even deeper shade of red.
愛する人に向かって走る少女は足元の小石に全く気づかなくて。キャッって悲鳴を上げながら彼の前で転倒して。 奇跡的に全ての秘密をさらけ出すポーズで自分の魅力を見せびらかせ。
I can't even begin to imagine what kind of pose she had in mind.
それを見た相手はなんて反応をするんでしょう。考えるだけでドキドキしますね。
But Vidya, you're not exactly the clumsy type to trip that easily, are you? She instantly deflated, crouching down like a popped balloon.
できることなら分析員さんの前で合理的に転びたいですね。
I can see what wild movie was playing out in her head, but I had a feeling it defied both logic and gravity. I would argue it defies everything, but yeah, why split hairs?
今度の映画でヒロインは男主人公の前でよく転ぶ設定にしようかな。
She looked so delighted by the idea that I decided to play along, even if I still had no idea what kind of scene she was imagining. No need to wait for our next movie. If you're really set on the idea, feel free to improvise whenever the mood strikes.
いいんですか？
Vidya practically sprang to her feet, but a moment later, she froze with a soft gasp.
待ってください。この下に。
Her demeanor shifted in a flash. She crouched low, tapped her knuckles against the floor, and a faint, hollow thump echoed back.
分析員さん、どうやら隠し部屋があるみたいです。
I froze for a moment and thought, then helped Vidya clean up the scattered items on the floor. And sure enough, beneath the mess was a sealed mechanical hatch.
あれ、まだ下があるの？ダウンロードした地図には地下の情報なんて全く載ってないんだけど。
このドア、鍵がかかってませんね。
She reached out and gave the handle a cautious tug. It opened easily, revealing a dark passageway leading down below.
まさか罠とかじゃないよね。
It's a trap! Yeah, it could be.
分析員さん、私見てきますね。
I'm going with you. Just don't make your heroic remarks, okay? Pretty Icho, Lizzie. I'll leave things here in your hands.
わかった。私は上でしっかり見張ってるね。イチェル、誰にも邪魔させないぞ。じゃあ私はお二人に迷惑かけないようにちゃんと自分を守るようにするから。私も自分を守ります。調査機能はたくさんついていますが、こういう地下通路には入りたくありません。そうだ、調査機も同行させようよ。警告緊急警告。この子は調査機能以外に道を探すこともできるんだ。調査機を先に行かせて安全を確認してから進むといいと思うよ。ひどいです。ひどすぎます。人類機械差別禁止法違反です。残念だけどまだそんな法律はできてないからね。まあ故障したら私が修理してあげるから一緒に行って。
Quite the bold statement there, Freya. Better be careful, otherwise, we start putting up robot rights, android rights, and such, cyborg rights. In the end, we ignored Detective Bot's protest and let it take point as we descended into the underground tunnel. The deeper we went, the heavier and wetter the air became. Eventually, the tunnel opened into another lab.
この実験室ずいぶん前に封鎖されたみたいですね。
Or maybe just abandoned for a while. I dragged a finger across one of the nearby benches. It came away caked in grime. Ew. Ooh. A quick scan revealed the room had been stripped down. Most of the equipment was missing.
分析員さん、ここにあったものはほぼ運び出されたみたいです。
I'm gonna take a screenshot of the laboratory. Laboratory. I can't help remember Dexter's laboratory. How Dexter pronounces it.
残ってるのは価値のないものばかりですね。
Didi and I scoured the space, managed to unearth a few scattered files. Mostly raw experimental data, cryptic on their own and missing key context. Some of the papers were even moldy after years of neglect. Damp air here clearly made it an unsuitable environment for preserving documents.
事件の手がかりはありません。ありません。ありません。安全な場所に戻りたいです。
After its half-hearted sweep, the bot began spinning in slow circles around the stacks of papers, scattering sheets everywhere with each clunky rotation. Didi was just about to stop its antics when it suddenly paused, eyes locking onto something. She darted over and picked up a torn file that had fluttered further afield.
この資料、さっきからここにありましたっけ？
Expecting more of the cryptic equations, I leaned in. But the moment I read the title, my breath caught in my throat. Project Deterrence Initiation Report. In 2062, censored, following approval by the board of the Leviathan, Cherubis, originally part of the Acropolis Project Preservation, will be repurposed for Project Deterrence. Censored will incorporate the new decompilation technology into the Leviathan, new Leviathan, enabling it to consume the tree in Pholosia. If the trial succeeds, the unit will extract its energy and proceed to consume whatever the hell that is in other regions. Censored. Decompilation requires a high-capacity computational system resistant to cyber intrusion. Upon full implementation of the technology, efforts must be made to secure the Charon system or build a viable alternative. The substitute system will be developed under the leadership of Censored and their research team. To prevent any form of digital breach, the Leviathan will be stored within Censored, maintained in a state of complete physical network isolation. Per our final decisions, this program will Censored. I'm gonna presume the last one self-destruct. Also censored. The report was riddled with incomplete text. Some of it manually scratched out or rendered illegible by damage. Still, what little remained was enough to send a cold ripple through my thoughts. Decompilation technology. That term looked familiar. No, not just familiar. I knew I'd seen it somewhere. Stacks of documents filled with dense, tangled formulas, all focused on a classified prototype. The equations seemed tied to something called decompilation. I'd seen that term before, back in the Titan Sciences lab, in the Detective Bot scan report. And then, another thread surfaced. The same project you mentioned earlier, the Philosian horse? Can you tell me more about it?
なんというか、ちょっと変なプロジェクトなんだよね。 すごい演算システムを提供されたんだ。そのシステムに気づかれないバックドアを入れてって先生に言われたの。
Decompilation requires a high-capacity computational system resistant to cyber intrusion. Upon implementation of the technology, efforts must be made to secure the Charon system or build a viable alternative. Huh. Suddenly, everything locked into place. The puzzle we've been trying to figure out finally snapped into focus. Miss Tia had been killed because of this system. And Lizzie, she survived because of it.
分析員さん、
Vidya's soft voice pulled me out of my thoughts. Our eyes met, and I could see it. The same realization flickering in hers. Obviously, she connected the dots too. Let's keep looking. There may still be more waiting to be found.
はい。
Vidya and I gave the lab one last sweep, but this time, we didn't turn up anything useful. Not that I was surprised. I ran with my fingers over the edge of the oddly dry document, then glanced toward the detective bot as it puttered around nearby. Giving Vidya a light tap on the shoulder, I murmured, "Let's head back up. We need to share what we found." The moment we climbed out of the tunnel, Icho came bounding over and threw herself into my arms.
分析イチェル、真面目に警戒してた。危険なことは起こらなかったぞ。分析やっと戻ってきたね。下はどうなってたの？銃声が聞こえなかったから敵はいなかったよね。
I highly doubt there is enemies hiding down there. I shook my head and handed her the redacted file. Look, favored us. Found this. Might actually be an important lead.
これは脅迫計画開始報告書。
How much of it do you think it's legit, Lafredia?
ちゃんと読ませて。逆コンパイラしてデンドロンを逆に取り込む技術って、そんなふざけたことできるわけないよ。ただの妄想じゃん。
What do you mean?
そうだよ。現時点でデンドロンを取り込む技術なんて存在しないから。分析員は唯一取り込める人として何度も実験に付き合ってくれたよね。タウさんも前からずっと研究してきたけど、分析員にそんなことができる原理は未だにわからないままなんだもん。いくらアクロポリス学院だって無理なことは無理だから。
Fredia, remember those research notes we found at the Titan Science Lab? The formulas. They were related to decompilation. Can you make sense of them now?
あの数式、ちょっと待って。一瞬しか読まなかったけど、ちょっとくらい覚えてるかも。そうだ、確か特殊エネルギーの転移過程を計算するものが書いてあった気がする。他のは構成からするとデンドロンを取り込むというか、タイタン物質を生物生命体の情報に書き換えるようなものかな。それでタイタン物質をたくさん添加することは可能だけど、デンドロンを取り込むのはやっぱり無理だから。もしかしたらタイタンの特徴を参考に生物兵器か何かを作ろうとしてるのかな。
Her words struck a chord. A ripple of unease spread through my mind.
エッタは分析員に一度負けました。あの性格ですから、きっとすぐにリベンジを図るでしょう。それは分析員にとってもチャンスかもしれません。愛しい分析員、待ち遠しいな。私たちが現実で会う時がね。分析員、どうしたの？
I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm not okay. A creeping suspicion had begun to take shape. I forced it back, drew a steady breath, and shifted my gaze to Lizzie, who had been frozen in place, staring at the file. Maybe she'd already put the pieces together and figured out her advisor's secret. Lizzie, you okay there? Lizzie, hello? Lizzie, can you hear me? Lizzie? Lizzie?
ああ、分析お兄ちゃん。
You okay? You okay there, Lizzie? You zoned out quite a bit.
私は平気だよ。
She tried to sound composed, but the tremble in her voice gave her away. A crack in the calm, just shy of tears.
先生はこのシステムのせいで殺されたのかな。
I think so.
昔先生から聞いたんだ。アクロポリス学院は純粋に真理を追い求める場所だから好きなんだって。だから学院を守りたいんだって。あの時はまだ言ってる意味がわからなかったけど、今は先生はアクロポリス学院のためにあのシステムを研究してたのかな。フィロゾアの木馬、なんでこんな名前にしたのか分かった気がする。あのメールもシステムも私に残したものじゃなくて先生が。
She trailed off suddenly and paused.
分析員お兄ちゃん、思いついちゃったかも。先生が残してくれたものがどこにあるのかを。
She lifted her hands, cupping them gently, as if holding a flower pot.
これが先生の計画なら私が。
No. Hell no. I can't let you hand over the floating horse. It's too dangerous. And if I recall, you said you never managed to finish that back door.
でも先生はもう。
I remember. I read it too. That's exactly why we need to be the ones who take it from here. Because letting someone else pull the strings, that's never been my style. Tomorrow, we give them, and it, the show they've been waiting for. After reassuring Lizzie, I took a breath, gathered my thoughts, now sharp and certain, and opened a comms channel. The line that had barely rung once before someone picked up.
分析。あら、分析。 やっと私たちのことを思い出したのね。
Yes, I finally think of you two. Stalking it is death. Yes, Katia. You're near Felocia right now, correct?
近くというか、もう中にいるわ。待機しすぎてつまんなかったから、先にアクロポリス学院に入ったのよ。分析、ここは何か面白いものがあるみたい。でも、ほぼ人がいなくて変ね。アクロポリス学院の人たちは、私たちの知らない間に引っ越してるみたい。そういえば、分析、まだこっちに来てないみたいだけど、何かあったの？そうだよ。何かあったの？せっかくサプライズとしてタイミング見計らって道でばったり会うつもりだったのに。
Let's just say things got rather exciting on my end.
そう？
Long story short, I need both of you. Now.
そう。今度は早く言ってちょうだい。私の分析員。
Yeah, just get your booty down here.
恥ずかしいけど、分析員のその言葉、
してほしい。
Tomorrow at 9 a.m., we'll be at the public trial in the Hall of Truth, Frontline Town. Let's meet up before then. After a few quick safety reminders, I ended the call.
分析員さん、明日が公開審理ということは。
Yeah. Tomorrow's the final showdown. Tomorrow's Judgment Day, as we know it. After that, the whole truth will finally come to light.
明日。わかりました。分析員さん。
At 6 p.m., rather worn out, we finally left the contaminated section and At 6 p.m., rather worn out, we finally left the contaminated section and arrived at the hotel arranged by the Acropolis. We've been on a move all day, and the exhaustion showed on everyone's faces.
僕腹減った。もうペコペコだよ。肉食べたい。分析員も一緒に来るよな。
She whined so adorably, no one could have turned her down. I pat her head and looked at the others. We've had a proper meal all day. Let's all grab something together, yeah?
明日の最終決戦に向けて体力を回復しないと。
I couldn't see her face, but her voice rang clear and determined.
賛成。
But when I turned to Vidya, her response caught me off guard.
分析員さん、ちょっと考えたいことがあるので先に言っててください。
She seemed distant ever since we left the lab, and I couldn't help but worry. Before I could say anything, he was already rounding the corner. After dinner with Icho, Frida, and Lizzie, it was close to 7 p.m. I walked Icho back to her room, then turned to say goodnight to Frida, but paused. Frida.
分析員どうしたの？もしかしてフリティア先生と別れるのが寂しいの？
I looked at her for a moment, deep in thought. Swing by my room later tonight, will ya?
わかった。シャワーを浴びておくね。
Her cheeks flushed as she spoke, and she gave a little skip, like an excited bunny, and darted off. Oh yeah, speaking of bunnies, apparently it's bunny days, which... interesting. So, 8/21... August 8, well, August is 8th month, 21st. Weird. Weird. I want to take a look for a moment. That's Animal Crossing. Joanna noticed. Oh. Just 8 baht into meat. Ah, I see. Okay, that makes sense. Okay then. I stood there for a while, blinking. She probably got the wrong idea, but then again, it didn't really need clearing up. After staying Precipitia off, I went straight into Vidya's room without wasting a second. She's been unusually quiet all the evening, and I couldn't just let it slide.
時間が足りなさすぎる。ちゃんとやってみせなきゃ。だってせっかく分析員さんと一緒に任務に出てるんだよ。今回でヒロインになれなくてもせめて分析員さんに強い印象を与えないと。ダメ、諦めちゃダメ。ダメ。
I raised my hand to knock, but froze as I caught her voice through the door. Pacing, rambling, her nerves practically vibrating through the wall. Yeah, at least she isn't making much of a fuss or a ruckus like Laplace. Just as I thought. Seemed like she was stressing out about the case. Today's investigation complete, we collected every critical piece of evidence. What was left was just a matter of connecting the dots. She'd been lost in thought the entire trip back from the contaminated section.
リディア、これは一生に一度のチャンスかもしれないからね。
Yeah, sure, you got one shot, one opportunity.
もう一度やってみて。できるんだから。
Alright, this is getting too dramatic. I shook my head with a wry smile and then came a shriek from inside the room. I didn't think. I didn't knock. It's instantly kicked in and I slammed the open door. The moment the door flew wide, the words caught in my throat. What I saw inside was an incredible sight to behold. Yeah, sight to behold. I honestly had no idea how to even begin to describe the psychological shock. Flat on her back, sprawled in a wholly unguarded pose that left little to the imagination. Bedia stared up at me in astonishment, eyes wide and misty, cheeks flaming red. So, this is the incredible fall you were talking about earlier. Stammering, she scrambled to her feet, cupping her burning hot cheeks, completely lost for her next move. Watching her flustered appearance, the truth dawned on me. Vidya, that fall just now. Are you? She dropped her gaze, nervously poking at her chest with one finger.
はい、練習していまして。 早く分析員さんに見せたくて。
Voice was barely more than a whisper, but her eyes flickered to mine, searching for a reaction.
分析員さん、どうでしたか?
I don't know. A very impressive performance. I honestly had no idea if that was the right thing to say. Yeah, that's hard to say. But it lit her up like a star. She beamed, cheeks still burning, hands pressed to her face.
気に入ってくれて嬉しいです。何度も転んだ甲斐がありました。
Just maybe don't put yourself through quite so much next time, okay?
わかりました。さっきのは誤解です、分析員さん。私は普段から真面目ですよ。
Right, okay there, Vidya. Okay. I mean, you can start acting like a hero or act like a queen. She cleared her throat and straightened up, putting on an air of mock dignity. Seeing her still in the mood to exchange banter with me put my mind at ease. Well, as long as you're okay.
それは、もしかして、 私のことを心配してます？
What did you think?
なるほど。さっきの私、分析員さんを心配させてたんですね。
She frowned, looking genuinely conflicted. That's not really the point, Vidya. I let out a quiet sigh and gave her a wry smile. I hadn't been trying to make her feel guilty. Hey, just don't overthink it. I just thought today's investigation might have pushed you a little hard. Honestly, I'd rather you just tell me what's on your mind, ask for help when you need it, instead of trying to carry it all by yourself. For some reason, she suddenly froze. What the hell's wrong now?
ダメかもしれません。急にあんなかっこいいセリフを言われたら変なアイディアで頭が渋滞しちゃいます。でも分析員さん大丈夫ですから。確かに事件のことで悩んでますが、大した悩みではありません。徹夜して考え直せばすんなり解決すると思います。
Alright, that's it. Just spill it. Spill it! What the hell is wrong with you?
わかりました。
She quickly sat me down and laid out everything she pieced together so far. She's already built a solid theory about who the culprit was and how the murder was carried out. All she lacked now was the final decisive piece of evidence. Just earlier, the Acropolis had confirmed the autopsy result. The victim had died from massive internal bleeding caused by organ trauma.
今はっきりしているのは、本当の凶器は観測の刃ということです。ですが、犯人がどうやって観測の刃を手に入れたのかがわかりません。それから、犯人はどうやって一切の痕跡も残さず観測の刃を手に入れて、犯行を密室殺人に見せかけて、その上メスまで持ち去ったのか。研究室に置いてあるものでパズルを埋めようとしたんですけど、やっぱり鍵となる何かが足りなくて、何か大事なことを見落としてるような気がします。
You're already close to the truth, Vidya. Really close. So close. All it takes is spotting one slip up, a single weak point, and from there, you'll be able to unravel the rest.
好きですか?
Take another look at this, and think back to everything we've uncovered in the Titan Sciences lab. You'll see it, and once you do, you'll realize she didn't just slip up once. Just a moment. Oh no, okay, never mind. It's perfect.
分析員さん、わかりました。あれだけ私たちを観測の刃から遠ざけたのは、特性を知られたくないからだけでなく、観測の刃だけで彼女の容疑が立証されてしまうからです。
It might be the case. That indeed might be the case. Now that you figured it out, tomorrow at the trial.
確実に言い逃れできないようにします。
Watching her now, back straight, eyes blazing with determination, I felt the last of the weight lift from my mind.
ですが、もう一つ気になるところが、犯人はどうやって観測の刃を手に入れたんでしょう。
That's another truth entirely.
もう一つの真実?
Yeah, and it's even more dangerous. More dangerous than we thought it would be. I can see the question in her eye. I can see the questions in her eyes. A About certain details about Ida, she couldn't assemble the full picture. Vidya, there are things I can't share right now. Is that alright? I wanted to tell her everything. I really did. But for the plan to hold, she had to stay genuinely unaware. At least for now. She didn't hesitate. A warm smile answered me. One hand rested over her heart, as if she were taking a vow.
分析員さんのことは信じて疑いません。だから分析員さんもどんな時も私を信じてくださいね。
Violet eyes shone with quiet, unwavering loyalty. We held each other's gaze until she looked away, cupping her flushing cheeks.
このセリフずっと前から言うタイミングを伺ってました。言えるチャンスがあってよかったです。何か変でしょうか？
Oh, I've heard worse, so don't worry, Vidya. Ow, my ear. Ow, 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 ow. Rangy? No. Heart melting and reassuring. Smiling, I reached out and gently cupped her cheek. Her heartbeat suddenly fluttered under my fingertips, and mine kept pace.
分析員さん、その
Her breathy whisper brushed against my senses like a caress, making my breaths quicken. Then I drew my terminal.
分析員さん？
Her voice immediately shifted to confusion, tinged with a hint of disappointment. She needed to send a quick message. She fired off a message to Frida and sent the terminal aside.
え、分析員さん。
Don't worry, kinda. Damn it. Ugh. Knocked a few things down. Okay, I can't do the joke. Ugh. Okay, sorry about that. At 10 p.m., I welcomed Bree into my room.
じー。分析員からいい匂いがする。
All because I had a bath with Vidya, and it wasn't exactly a quick one. You don't say.
なる
She paused, a faint blush raising to her cheeks. Then, with sudden boldness, she lifted her chin.
ほど。私を夜にこっそり来させた意味わかってるからね。嬉しいの。やっと私の良さに気づいたんだね。柔らかくていい匂いがする私を抱きしめて寝たらどんなに気持ちいいか気になってきたんでしょ？もしかして外れた？
I didn't hesitate. I pulled her straight into my arms. Yeah, you nailed it.
まったく今度は素直に言うんだよ。私と一緒に寝たいって別に恥ずかしいことじゃないから。
You're right. And I'm in agreement. Just seeing her beam like that was enough to lift the weight that had been dragging at my chest all day. Like sunlight breaking through the storm cloud. But before we get into that, I need your help with something important. Professor Frida. I took a small data disc. The one Director Tao had passed to me via Caroline. Just before I let the Yggdrasil headquarters.
これは小型スピンドルシステムのドライブ？
You recognize it at a glance. Impressive. But then again, you're super smart, so I shouldn't expect anything more or less. I locked eyes with her, my face solemn. This is my ace in the hole, the piece I've been holding back for the final play. Back during the Charon Sea Base incident, I managed to secure a vial of confinement serum, a specialized virus designed to neutralize rogue programs. But I wasn't sure it'd still be effective against its latest iteration. And considering it was already aware of the serum's existence, there was a good chance it had built-in countermeasures. By now. That's why I needed something stronger. A weapon only Professor Bridia could help me build. Alright, so just another cutscene, and then 3 stages, and then cutscene, boss fight, and cutscene. Alright. June 17th, 9 a.m., Hall of Troop. Alright, it's Judgment Day. The public trial was about to begin.
それじゃあ分析員先に行ってくるね。
Go get him.
分析員に素晴らしいマジックショーを見せるから。
Be careful. Noticing the distant gaze looking our way, a wave goodbye to Lizzie with a smile. Yeah, don't be surprised with the dead giveaway with the magical performance.
わかってるよ分析員お兄ちゃん。たまにこうして分析員を呼んでみるのいいかもね。
Not long after Lizzie left, attendees for the trial began filling in and take their seats. When the crowd finally hushed, the gavel echoed from the bench.
裁判員の皆さんの捜査の結果、当事件には新しい進展がありました。裁判員の皆さん、本日の審理を開始してもよろしいですか？
I didn't answer immediately. Instead, I glanced at the 3 beside me. Bridia seemed to be observing of something intently. Catching my eye, she lifted a small fist and gave me a quick wave, her way of saying she was ready. Icho looked like she was dying to grab the teacup on the table, but didn't quite dare. The moment she felt my gaze, she yanked her hand back, tucked it behind her, and flashed an innocent grin. What the hell? Yeah, let's just hope she doesn't go too insane.
分析僕おとなしくするから。
You do that, Ichel. Vidia pushed up her glasses, scanned her notes one last time, then met my gaze, her eyes composed and sharp.
分析員さん、準備できましたよ。
Good. Let's do this! Let's do this! And so the trial began. A reopened case headed toward its final reckoning.
では、もう一度事件の経緯を説明します。報告書をご覧ください。
At 7:13 on June 16th, Tia, head of the Quantum Sciences Lab, was found dead at her workstation, approximately 5 meters from the lab's main entrance. Cause of death: massive internal bleeding from severe organ trauma. Estimated time of death, 6:12 on June 15th. When the scene was discovered, the lab door was locked by its security system. Security staff were forced to breach it, revealing what appeared to be a classic locked room murder. Miss Lizzie was also found unconscious at the scene. However, her airtight alibi has since been verified, and she has been ruled out as a suspect.
以上、今回の事件の説明です。では、本館に今回の容疑者を教えてください。
And let's see here. Malin, Doris, or Nian? Well, Malin.
数々の調査を経て、皆さんは真央さんを疑っているのですか？
なんで疑われたのかわからないわ。昨日の調査では十分に付き合ってあげたでしょ。
証拠を見つけたのでそう認識しただけです。
ふん、証拠ね。まあいい。そこまで言うならあなたたちの顔を立てて証言台に立ってあげようかしら。
ではこれより本日の審理を開始します。真央さん、あなたは被害者を殺害した疑いをかけられました。異議はありますか？
もちろんよ。何度も繰り返すわ。ティアの死は私と無関係よ。それに調査報告書にはっきり書かれてたけど、現場は密室状態だったわよね。私がティアを殺したのならどうやって密室から出たのかしら。それから現場では麻酔ガスが噴射されたから理事がそこで意識を失ってたのよ。もし私が現場にいたら理事のような状態で倒れてないとおかしいわ。
If the locked room setup was genuine, Malin would have a solid point. But I knew. There's another exit in this quantum science lab. Malin has supernatural power. She can pace through walls. The locked room wasn't created from the inside of the room. The middle one just seems very unlikely, that's for sure. The locked room wasn't created from the inside. I forgot what I had last time, so I'm definitely ruling out the middle, so I tried a video. If she wants to keep up the charade, fine. We'll humor her. For now. Let's strip away her lies, one by one, and see how long her bluff holds. No rush. Oh yeah, we'll get to that in just a moment as soon as she gets exposed. I did mention that, yeah. She could be stealing herself to be innocent and not tell any lies. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention too, there was a Power Ranger style charge reference to about this. So yeah. Anyways, after all, she's not the only one who needs a little more time.
はい、わかりました、分析員さん。
Vidia adjusted her glasses, eyes locked onto Malin, who had put on a calm front.
あの現場が本当に内部からでしか作れない密室なら、犯人は確かに出られないでしょう。ですが残念ながら、そこは外から作り上げられた偽の密室でした。
外から作り上げられた偽の密室？そんなこと可能なのですか？
Seriously, who has the Akademia of Acropolis even let serve in it as an arbiter these days?
.そんな目で本館を見ないでください。
Oh, you could have been worse. It could have been even worse, Judge.
アクロポリス学院は 科学学術交流と知恵のぶつかり合いを崇めています。この真理帳も古来より学術的弁論に使われてきました。凶悪事件の審理のために使われるなんて十数年間で初めての試みです。本館だって初めての経験なんです。
Yeah, clearly. And that would explain how Lizzie ended up being curiously labeled as a suspect in the first place. Yeah, exactly what I stated. Clearly, it's her first time.
状況を未だにつかめないのでしたら、会話に割り込まないでもらっていいですか？
申し訳ございません。
Yeah, just sit back down, newbie. Let us handle this.
密室が外から作られたという証拠をこれから皆さんにお送りします。
The evidence Vidya is referring to was uncovered during our investigation of the quantum sciences lab. Three emergency buttons, the security doors, locking mechanism. There are 3 buttons. Blue for lockdown, green for knock gas, red for both. When the victim was found, her fingers was resting on the red button. Security door's locking mechanism. Lab security door. Nearly 10 centimeters thick. Is its primary safeguard. It can be sealed internally via the emergency buttons. Also, if the door is physically damaged, the system automatically triggers the full lockdown. This should be the key evidence for proving. This should be the key evidence proving the locked room was staged from the outside.
「ご覧の通り、密室を作ることができるのは中の安全ボタンだけではありません。あらかじめ被害者の指をボタンに置いて自分で麻酔ボタンを押し、麻酔ガスが噴出される前に部屋から出れば、被害者が内部から麻酔と施錠を行ったように見せることが可能です。そして部屋から出た後、外からドアを破壊することでドアは自動でロックがかかり、密室も完成します。
そういうやり方があるのは本館でもわかります。ですが、
でもそれじゃ無理よ。
そうですよね。そんなに睨まないでください。無関係のことを話すつもりはありません。
Uh-huh. I'm sure that wasn't the case.
ドリスさんは警備を呼んでドアを破壊する前にドアの写真を撮りました。その写真に写ったドアには傷一つありませんでした。ですが、安全ボタンなしでドアをロックしたければ、物理的にドアを壊さないといけません。
ドアに傷をつけずに破壊するのは不可能ではないのです。
なんですって？
当時、タイタン物質開発研究室にあった特別なものを使えば可能です。
Uploading the exhibit now. How to choose the right piece of evidence. Metamorph curio containment case, application box, or the phase bullet. This is a secure container designed to store metamorph curios. Aside from the designated lab supervisor, no one can open it except for specific windows. However, it wouldn't be effective for damaging the door while keeping the exterior unscathed. No. Please bullet. Shit, picked the wrong one.
この資料で外からドアをロックする方法がお分かりになったでしょう。タイタン物質の三形態変換という特性を利用して開発された貫通弾丸は情報体になって厚みが30ミリの防御装甲を貫通することができます。
Yeah, I picked the wrong one, so I was meant to save that for later.
そして研究室のドアの厚さは10センチです。つまり貫通弾丸をドアに撃つと弾丸はドアの中の30ミリまで入り込んでから実体を取り戻し中からドアにダメージを与えます。これでドアの表面を傷つけずにドアロックを発動できますね。それから真央さんの研究室にあった拳銃にはサイレンサーがついていました。廊下から発砲しても他の研究室にいる人たちに不審がられません。
Under Phidia's piercing gaze, Mao didn't even flinch. Instead, a faint smile tugged at the corner of her lips.
その憶測だけで私を疑ってるのね。まあ面白い発想だったわ。事実からは程遠いけど今の発言大きく矛盾してるのよ。
Her voice rose gradually. Then I cut in. The glaring flaw you're baking on. I'm guessing this. The bullet count. Base bullets can't do that kind of thing. 10 centimeters less than 30. Shit, forgot. Bullet count, base bullet can't do. Ah, shit, okay.
気づいてるじゃない。無駄話もいいところだわ。
待ってください。何の話ですか？何か聞き逃したわけじゃないのに一気にわからなくなりましたが、学生時代の苦しい記憶がちょっとぼーっとしたら黒板に文字がびっしり書かれてしまうあの時のことを。
貫通弾丸は量産できないから一発使うとしっかりと一発分の在庫が減るわ。なのに今この時点で弾丸の数は15発のまま。本当に貫通弾丸でドアを破壊していたのならそこから一発減っていないとおかしいわよね。余分な一発がどこから来たのかあなたたちに説明できるのかしら。
答えはあなたもよく知っていますよね、真央さん。
Sorry. Bad cough. Dia pushed up her glasses, her face unreadable, but her gaze cut through Mound like a blade. Seeing Vidya pressing her advantage, I opened the digital evidence folder with a smile. I'll now upload evidence identifying the source of that mysterious bullet. I will present... let's see here, replication box, replication box, because that seems more obvious. Item YX003, the replication box. Here's the dossier. Place an object inside, close the lid, wait 10 seconds, and the item will be duplicated. After each use, the box requires a 6-hour cooldown. Duplicates carry anomalous properties and typically disintegrates after 6 hours. Note, metamorph curios themselves cannot be copied, but certain derivative research items can.
なるほど。そのマーベルズを使えば貫通弾丸を複製できるのですね。それってつまり
Every eye in the room snapped to Mound. She let out a low, derisive laugh.
滑稽ね。
We'll get to that in just a moment.
本館がですか？
部外者は黙ってなさい。
はい。ですが、はい、申し訳ございません。黙ります。
Why, you're the freaking judge.
タブ犬に来た時にちゃんと説明したはずよ。確かに弾丸を複製したけれど実験で全て使い切ったの。実験の様子を収めた録画もあなたたちに見せたわよね。それを疑ってるのなら証人を呼んでもいいけど。
I don't doubt the footage. I believe the bullets you replicated that day were indeed all used up. But
問題はそこじゃありません。
the key is the replication test from the day of the murder. The bullets that were replicated on the day of the murder. Shit, I've done. Replication test from the days of murder, or bullets that were replicated on the day of the murder. Crap.
事件翌日の複製実験はそもそも何かを隠そうとしていないので、もちろん何の問題も見当たりません。
Okay, I picked the right one.
ですが、事件当日の実験はどうですか？
意味がわからないわ。
事件当日の実験を私たちに見せていませんよ。
実験は毎回映像が残るわけじゃないわ。あと当日の実験は事件と何の関係があるというの？デタラメばっかね。あなたたちも
複製の箱の研究報告書を読んだでしょですか？複製されたものは通常6時間で消えます。事件当日の複製実験は午前9時から10時の間に行われました。つまり当日に複製された弾丸は事件が起きる前に消えるはずだと言いたいんですね。
あら、違うかしら。
報告書では通常6時間と書かれていました。では通常じゃない場合はどうなるのでしょうか？
通常じゃない。
Moun's face tensed up, like she'd just swallowed a bitter pill. Vidya had clearly stuck a nerve. Yeah, she's doing not too shabby for someone who shares the same voices with Floss and Ludmilla. Although I think she's pulling a more serious demeanor from Ludmilla, so... Yeah, she's doing good so far, all things considered. I knew exactly how Mount had managed to pull off this special case. Store the bullet in the metaphor carry contaminated case. Store the bullet in the fridge. Microwave the bullet. Crap, I forgot. I highly doubt microwave, so... No one tested that, but pretty sure it wouldn't have worked. Okay, yeah, I thought so too.
マーベルズ用の金庫に入れると何時間持ちますか？マオさん、答えていただきましょうか。あなたならこういった保管実験を行ったことがあるはずです。
やったとしても些細な実験だからとっくに忘れたわ。残ってないったらないわよ。どうしても私を疑いたいならその方法を使ったと証明できる証拠でも見せなさい。それにそもそも私よりネオンを疑うべきじゃないかしら。現場を密室に見せるための方法はネオンにしかできないわ。見ればわかるでしょ。
え、このタイミングで新しい容疑者ですか？予想をはるかに超えた展開です。
You're not M. Night fucking Shyamalan, okay? The twist! Sorry, I can't remember. I can't help but remember Robot Chicken skit with that one clip with Shyamalan teaming up with Roger Ebert, the late Roger Ebert.
そのネオンさんにもできるのですか？
もちろん変異生物を操ればいい話よ。
Item YX007 Command Megaphone. Oh, yeah, I still need to watch Omega Horn. You're suggesting she used that to pull it off, aren't you?
ええ。そのラッパで小型生物を操れば通気口とかそういう隙間から研究室に入れるわ。ティアを殺した後、外から小型生物にロックボタンを押させたら密室の出来上がり。事件当日、生命科学研究室で事故が起きたのもこれが原因かもしれないわね。ラッパの変異を無駄にしないためにわざと事故を起こしたに決まってる。
Vidia adjusted her glasses, a faint, cool smile tugging at her rosy lips.
面白い発想ですね。さっき言われたこの言葉、そっくりそのままお返しします。ですが、それはありえません。
なんでよ。
理由はあなたの研究報告書に書かれていますよ。
Vidia glanced at me once again. Rory ruled out this angle back at the life science lab.
分析員さん、もしかしてあのラッパを使って。
Think, Vidia! Think this through, Vidia. The megaphone couldn't have done it because limited usage damage, limited effective range, limited effective time. I've uploaded the command megaphone's dossier for everyone to review. Take a good look. The answer's right there.
本館にはさっぱりです。なんでですか？
では説明しましょう。問題は距離にあります。ラッパの使用可能距離は2メートル。ですが、遺体と安全ボタンはドアから5メートル離れた場所にあります。
Yeah, she's slipping. She's slipping.
マオさん、他に何か詭弁はありますか？
詭弁ですってそんなこと言っても結局何も証拠がないじゃない。それに説明できないこともたくさん残ってるわ。凶器は生命犬のメスだったわよね。私が犯人ならどうやってメスを取ってくるというの？
混乱に乗じて取ればいい話ですよ。事件当日の午後、生命科学研究室で事故が起きた時、あなたは事故の様子を見に来ましたよね。
私以外にもたくさんの人がいたわ。その間、研究室の監視カメラは動いていたはずよ。私がメスを取ったかどうかはちゃんと映像を確認すればわかるでしょ。
ええ、もちろん確認しましたよ。人がたくさん入る間は道具入れを確認できませんでしたが、皆さんがいなくなった後、メスが揃ってると監視カメラで確認できました。
ちょっと待ってください。マオさんがメスを取ったと言っているんですよね。揃っているということは
裁判員の皆さん、いよいよ頭がおかしくなったようね。
いいえ、揃っているからこそ、あなたマオさんにしかメスを取れないと証明できます。こちらを見てもらえば意味がわかると思います。
It's capital kit still intact at 8 p.m. on June 15th. As Vidia spoke, I uploaded the exhibit.
確かに6月15日の夜8時時点でメスはまだ揃ってますね。ですが、もしメスが凶器なら当日の6時12分には。
ちなみにですが、事件翌日に確認するとメスが1本だけ消えていました。そして監視カメラには誰も映ってません。事件当日、監視カメラが正常に作動するようになってから翌日現場が発見されるまで、量子科学研究室の廊下にあるカメラにも誰も映ってませんでした。つまり そのメスは監視カメラが作動していない15日夜の6時から7時の間に事件現場に移動したことになります。
すみません、余計わからなくなりました。一体なぜですか？
複製の箱で複製したものの特性を覚えてますか？
複製品は6時間後に消える。なるほど。真央さんは生命科学研究室のメスを複製してその複製品を道具入れに戻したと言いたいのですね。
大胆な推測ね。複製の箱でメスを複製するだなんて奇想天外にも程があるわ。仮に本当に箱でメスを複製したら監視カメラに映らないとおかしいわよね。箱の写真を見たでしょ。あんなに大きい箱を持っていると嫌でも目立つわ。それに事件当日、私が生命圏に入ったのはたったの一度だけ。人混みに紛れてメスを取って複製してまた戻しに行ったとしたら回数が合わないわ。
そうですよ。真央さんの言う通り、本当に複製の箱で複製を行っていたら現場でこんな行動は無理なはずで。
The murmur from the arbiter spread like a ripple, a wave of doubt beginning to rise among the spectators. And yet, as the noises grew louder, Vidya turned calmly toward me, composed and assured. It's time. It's time. It's the time. And don't remind me how I got that quote from. Vidya. Finish her.
はい。分析員さんが教えてくれたあの好きで。
Faint smile played on her lips. She adjusted her glasses with a practiced grace. But when her gaze returned to Mound, chill behind it struck like a knife. Mound flinched instinctively.
真央さんに一つだけ質問をさせていただければ真実は明らかになります。
質問？
登録番号 YX003。
She enunciated every syllable with icy precision, and then raised her hand, pointing directly at Mound.
このマーベルズの名前は本当に複製の箱で合ってますか？
何が言いたいの？
登録番号 YX003。 実際に複製能力を持つのは箱の中の布なんじゃないですか？
あなた。
For the first time, Mound's veneer of composure began to crack, her eyes flashing, her breath catching.
さあ、知らないわ。
それはどうでしょう。タブ犬の責任者でもあるあなたが知らないなんておっしゃるのですね。
いい加減にしなさい。あんたは私が犯人であることを前提に推理を進めてるだけよ。仮にあんたの言った通り布だけでメスを複製できたとしても何の意味がある？私がティアを殺した証拠になるの？複製品のメスを私以外の誰かが凶器として使った可能性がないと言い切れる？結局何の証拠もないじゃないの。私がティアを殺したと証明できる証拠がね。
Vidya stood there, arms folded, her gaze cold and sharp as polished glass.
ありますよ、証拠。
じゃあそれを見せなさいよ。現場の地面に私の生物情報があったとでも言うの？凶器に私の指紋がついていたのかしら？はたまた私が犯行を行った瞬間を撮影した写真でもあるの？それくらいの証拠を見せたらどう？
真央さん、右手の傷は治りましたか？
あんたたちの証拠と何の関係が？
もちろんありますよ。あなたの右手は凶器のせいで負傷したんですから。
Mound's breath hitched. but the next second, she yanked up her sleeve with sharp motion.
右手はただひねっただけよ。凶器で負傷したなら傷跡が残ってないとおかしいじゃない。
そうですよ。メスによる傷ならどうしても跡が残ります。いくらアクロポリス学院の特別な治療手段を使ったとしても、跡は少なくとも7日間残ります。まだ事件発生から3日しか経ってませんよ。
メスが作った傷口なら確かに跡が残りますが、私は最初から最後まで凶器はメスだって言ってませんよ。
どういうことですか？
マオさんなら分かっているでしょう。
Real murder weapon was no other than. Yeah, it's definitely the top one.
登録番号 YX111 観測の刃。
There's no way it could be the robot. Let's be real.
あなたはこのマーベルズについて詳しいですか？
いいえ。
そうでしょうね。詳しいはずがありません。でなければ事件現場であんなミスをしないのでしょう。
ミスですか？
Everyone, take a look at this. I uploaded the compiled files on the Observer's Blade for all to see. After securing the Observer's Blade, we conducted a series of tests and compiled a detailed report.
あんたたちの研究報告書は何の信憑性が。
She cut herself mid-sentence because she saw the signature at the bottom of the page. Pretty Ignis, a name that carried legendary weight within the Academica Acropolis. Few had ever met her in person, so no one recognized her here and now. But her signature on the document, that was authority no one dared question.
どれどれ？観測の刃は量子の変異を持っている。ナイフの一部が観測されたとき、該当箇所は物質世界から姿を消す。なるほど。だから跡を残さないんですね。それから観測の刃に付着したものも一時的にその変異を持ちます。どういうことですか？
つまりもし観測の刃に血が付着したら、その血も同じように観測された時に消えるということです。マオさんもその特性のせいで計画が狂ったんじゃないですか？観測の刃に付着した血は見えなくなるので、それを使って被害者を殺した後、あなたは慌てて凶器を金庫に戻そうとして、取り出した時と同じように箱にあった布をかぶせようとしました。しかし観測の刃に付着した血は布に付着し、それで変異を失ってまた見えるようになった。あなたはここまで明らかな矛盾を現場に残せるはずがありません。そこで観測の刃に残る血痕を洗った後、あなたは違う布をそれにかぶせました。その布は複製能力のある布から切り取ったものですね。ちょうどメスを複製するために持ち出したそれが手元にありました。ああいう緊急事態ではいい代用品なんてすぐには見つかりません。それが一つ目のミスです。これのおかげで私は複製の箱から感じていた違和感の正体を突き止めました。観測の刃にかぶせた布と複製の箱に入っていた布を見比べれば、切り取った跡は完璧に一致しているとわかるでしょう。それから2つ目のミス。もっと言えば、あなたがティアさんを殺したと証明する証拠も観測の刃にあります。なぜならそこにはあなたとティアさんの血痕が残っているからです。目視できる血痕は拭いたり洗ったりできますが、見えない血痕はどうでしょう。綺麗に落とす保証も時間もあなたにはなかったはずなのでは。 観測の刃をさらに詳しく調べれば。
Mound suddenly let out a long breath, not a panic, but almost of relief. She cut Vidya off mid-sentence.
もういい。犯人は私よ。
Okay. Looks like the case is closed. Yeah, I had a feeling you would pull this shit. So, despite telling the truth, which the lie detector did not detect, yeah, remember what Freya says? She could be stealing herself up, make sure she doesn't detect whatnot. Yeah. I think the same could be said with, Dino Charge when they thought Shelby was the imposter. No, turns out that was Coda. Despite telling the truth. And weirdly enough, Kendall pretty much believes Shelby in it, and he's like, yeah, I think I could figure it out too. So yeah, I think this is pretty much the same case right here, more or less.
なんでこんなことを、なんで先生を殺したんですか？
アクロポリス学院の未来のためよ。
アクロポリス学院の未来？
ええ。
信じられません。そんなデタラメな理由で。
信じなくて結構。これは私自身が決めた道よ。あのバカ女が生き残るチャンスはいくらでもあったわ。なのに頑固なせいで最悪の道を選んだのよ。
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention too, the red text she gave out from the last stream, yeah, that pretty much raises red flags there too. Well, I mean, red text, red flags, yeah. You get what I mean.
これが結論ですか。裁判員が説明した通り、あなたは被害者を殺してから現場を密室に偽装しましたか？
ええ。あれだけのアクシデントが起きなければもっと完璧な現場にできたのに。用意したアリバイも役に立たなかったし、濡れ衣を着せる相手も考え直す羽目になったわ。
アクシデント？
今となってはどうだっていい話よ。おめでとう、裁判員たち。確かに真犯人を見つけて私を黙らせたけど、おかげさまで私たちはようやく欲しいものを手に入れたわ。
A then triumphant smile crept across her otherwise grim face. That's my cue. Didi had played her part to perfection. Now, it was my turn. The substitute for the Charon system. That's the real prize you were after, isn't it? She didn't say naughty or what or something or any forms of what. Her smug smile snapped in half for one heartbeat. Panic flickered behind her eyes. That seems inappropriate time to play the lobby music. I'll let this play for a bit. Okay. Yeah, abruptly timed, but I can't help it, so. Alright.
あんたなんで
If we're syncing the timelines, Lizzie should already have been intercepted by your people. Your plan was simple: steal the system, wake the Leviathan, and wipe every loose end off the board. Correct?
そこまで知っているならあの時待って、これはあんたたちが用意した罠なのね。
Ding 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 ding! Good answer, Carl! Exactly. Sharp of you. No prizes though. No prizes except, yeah. You win stupid games, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, so... We didn't drag this trial out just to hear your confession. Just like you, we were stalling for time. Time to draw your cue into the open and expose the secrets you've worked so hard to hide.
そうなのね。でももう遅いわ。今さら動き出したところで何も止められない。
Watching Mound cling to her composure, I knew it was time to deliver the final push. Final blow. I think I just might. Before I could press further, something tugged at my coat hem. Turning back, I found Fredia looking up at me with expectant eyes.
分析、私十分我慢したでしょ。もう話してもいい？
Go right ahead. Take it away, Fredia.
僕も。
You go get her too, Emu. Floor's all yours. Oh.
やっと話せた。フリティア先生、芝居が得意じゃないからバレちゃうんじゃないかって心配だったんだ。でもここから種明かし。今まではテスお姉ちゃんのマジックショーだったんだ。イチェル、私まだ全然話してないのに。
Rip.
だってフリティアもったいぶるから。
Hey, well, guess we're cutting to the chase with Freddy, so. Yeah, well.
大事な発言は雰囲気を作ってから話すもんなの。とりあえずそういうことで。
Fredia finished the last word and planted her hands on her hips. In that instant, the Fredia and Icho seated at the notary's table shimmered and began to glitch.
これはホログラムですって？ありえないわ。いつどうやって？
Oh, I think it's quite simple. Well, simple and elaborate.
科学の力にちょっとしたマジックのテクニックを加えたの。
Yeah, that works too. Science and magic. Good old combination of magic and technology. Ah, the joyous wonders of that. Her lilting voice exploded in as the gates of the Hall of Truth, now silently unsealed, emitted a burst of fresh air and electric energy.
分析、こっちも終わったよ。あの人たちが欲しがってたものを渡したから、私が理事と入れ替わってたなんて全然気づかれなかったみたい。
He set the draft mask against the wall, meeting my eyes with a fond smile. Once I'd confirmed she was uninjured, I gave a small nod. We got our lead here. I'll leave things in the hall in your hands.
うんうん。
Give her hell as death. Still smiling, Tess raised the signal jammer in her hand and gave it a casual twirl. then shut the gates behind her with a firm click, locking it tight before stepping into the hall.
ごめんねみんな。ここはしばらく私が仕切ることになったの。ここにいる全員は外と連絡を取っちゃダメだよ。
A flick of her wrist, playing cards shot out like streaks of light, slamming into the floor just inches from the feet of a few would-be escapees.
今のはただの警告。今度こそこそ動いたらどこに刺さるかは保証できないよ。
Yeah, I want to make her mad if I were you. As my operative just said, please remain where you are and cooperate. When this is over, the Acropolis will provide you with a proper explanation, and rest assured, no one will be harmed. We'll bring back good news. The sound of waves gently rising and falling could be heard in the distance. I gave Tess a subtle nod in reply, then reached for the suitcase at my feet. Inside lay my exosuit. Ship ahead through quiet company channels, waiting for this exact moment. I mean, can't exactly pull Superman or Spider-Man from that, so...
分析員さん、
Her voice tightened. Through her glasses, she'd already sighted a lone figure fleeing down the far end of the street. She eased closer, pressing her body against my arm.
何かが私たちに追いついてほしくなさそうですね。
I raised an eyebrow. I felt it too. Something off in the air. It definitely doesn't want us to catch up. But unfortunately for them, Tess wasn't the only ace I had in the deck. Yep, time for Katia to shine. My copy was open, and the Hall of Truth wasn't the only scene playing out across my screen. Or okay, maybe I was wrong. After swapping outfits with Tess, Lizzie had slipped into the shadows. My covert partner for this parallel. She'd been watching the trial unfold from afar, though through a live projection feed. In the adjacent pane was Katia, ever my anchor, perched on the edge of the rooftop, cross-legged and composed. She watched our target like a hawk poised to strike. Oh, okay, I was partially right. Yes. No, don't worry, I will. Alright. Now we got the cutscenes out of the way. Now we got 3 stages, 2 cutscenes, and the boss fight. Oh, and I think this is the time to grab my controller. Oh man, that is toasty. Trial. Nope. She's not exactly ready, but seeing they're so low, I don't think we need to worry. Too badass ladies and a boo boo. Sounds about right.
またこいつら。
僕嫌い。ニョロニョロしてて気持ち悪い。違う、あれは暴走しているのよ。
よりによってこんな時に暴走するだなんて。やはり前のあれも偶然じゃなかったようですね。出る幕を間違えたモブたちはここでオールアップしてもらいますよ。
それステュックスにおまだ続くぞ。まとめてきたか。構わん。いや手間が省けて好都合か。私の戦いぶり気に入ったか。問題ない。行こう。得意分野よ。その勇気は褒めてあげる。大見
Ew.
餅は餅や、お払いは部分に任せて。
Right, boo boo. Yo, Molly. I made it. You are
今
smarter
の
than
秘
you
訣
ever
充
were.
実、やる気満々だよ。
That was me.
逃がさない。くらえ、逃がさない。
Right. And set it. That's it.
敵を見下ろすのっていつも気持ちいいな。
There you see. Next stage. It's just a squad. In life. Hitting. And we'll get to play Dorothy in the next one.
分析員、私から目を離さないでくれ。敵の増加を確認。目標の排除を確認。予備は十分にある。
この私があんたの後に出るなんて。今回は許してあげるわ。あんたたちの出番は終わりよ。ちょっと汗でもかくか。エアモブが大量発生してるみたい。
Huh. There's some infighting again. I gotta kill them way too quickly, so.
分析、今位置についたわ。分析、お兄ちゃん、計画通りギルティクラッシャーが起動されたよ。ギルティクラッシャーの位置を調べたよ。詳しい座標はまだわからないけど、大橋の方にあるみたい。待て、あいつら端末の通信機能を遮断したみたい。
Shit. Should've just let it play out.
どう？あんたは私だけ見てればいいの。
Alright. Squad, and we got the next. Okay, Dorothy. Chin Shing. Lydia. Marianne. Haru. Yeah. Onion. Yeah. Decisions. Well, since we're about to go for the boss fight. And actually, considering that we're going to Nikki next week. So we're gonna finish Okay, so we got Team Bloodmula or Boss, Forty, and Red Hood. Interesting team up, but yeah. Pretty much we got the Nikkei squad.
満を持して行ってきます。分析員さん、避難勧告を出してきました。大橋を通っている車は全部避難始めましたよ。それにしても厄介ですね。次から次へと湧いてくるなんて。
達成。演習通りです。恐れるほどではあります。戦車万戦。
早くしてよね。残業したくないから。これは過重労働だな。空のダンスを散らかすな。
大橋、ようやく到着しました。ここからはもっと効率のいい乗り物が必要ですね。
Okay.
君たちの冬を温めてあげる。一安心。今この瞬間、私は蘇る。すみませんね、仕事なもんで。就職先を間違えたね。ちょっと頑張りすぎちゃったか。
You're pushing out just so you don't have to voice Red Hood. Alright, so cutscene time.
研究室でカーシアや理事と合流したよ。ここの操作端末は私と理事で担当するから。でも端末の通信が復旧するまでこれ以上の操作はできないかも。これから分析員とビディアはギルティクラッシャーの場所に向かって。信号中継機の代わりにビディアの走行を使わないと停止させる指令を出せないと思う。高エネルギー反応の大体の位置は送ったけど、具体的な場所はさらに解析しないとわからないんだ。データは自動調査機にも送ったから、もうすぐ表示してくれると思うよ。
Got it. I see the feed. At the edge of the sea bridge, Vidya and I had managed to commandeer a vehicle. As we sped across, Vidya's map data came through. The enemy severed the terminal's comms right after uploading the substitute system, trying to stop us from interfering. Our only move now was to reach the Leviathan directly, restore the connection, and give Vidya control again. The surge signals pointed to somewhere under the bridge between the frontline town and the Acropolis, just a few miles ahead. I pressed a finger to my brow. running through it again, on the surface, it looked like they'd gotten ahead of us. But that, too, was part of the plan. They thought they had successfully launched the Leviathan with a substitute system. But in truth... Vidya, how much longer until we get there?
あと10分ください。
Vidya weaved through traffic with impossible precision. Alarms screened across the bridge as evacuation protocols kicked in, but we were driving against the flow of traffic, straight into the heart of danger. We were already on the bridge, but the Leviathan was still a good distance ahead. The road between us, and it was chaos. 10 minutes. We should be able to make it. Ideally, the Leviathan could be shut down by protocol, but if things went south, Vidya and I were the failsafe. I left Caddy and Icho behind to stay. I left Caddy and Icho behind to safeguard Vidya and Lizzie, in case someone made a desperate play. My eyes flickered. Excuse me. My eyes flickered to a rearview mirror. The detective bot sat quietly in the back seat, running through the encrypted coordinates Freddy had uploaded, still crunching numbers. But my focus wasn't the data, it was on the bot itself. With the news tightening and time running out, I could feel it. The final reckoning was here. So I broke the silence. Looks like we're in the clear. You could talk now. So care to tell me what Ida had in store for us? And as soon as I spoke, Vidya's hands tightened on the wheel. She kept her grip steady. Her eyes flickered to a rearview mirror, warily eyeing the detective bot in the back. Silence stretched. Half a minute, maybe more.
意味がわかりません。
Oh, I think you do. Brute. After all, you've been pulling the strings from the start, haven't you?
おう
Fine, deny all you want. I got more than enough to go on. Things had gone as planned. I'd have left no cracks behind, but complications arose. My alibi fell apart, and had to improvise to find a scapegoat on the spot. During the hearing, Mal made this interesting statement. You remember, don't you? She may have been the killer, but she never realized the complications that ruined her airtight plan were part of a larger design. I knew exactly how those complications came about. Mal's video, recorded on June 13th. The video Mal recorded on June 13th was a time step between 6:30 and 7:30. Her original plan was simple. Carry out the murder between 6:30 and 7, during the surveillance blackout, then use the pre-recorded footage as her alibi. But then complication happened, forcing her to abandon that plan entirely. Excuse me. Piece together a few key facts, and the cause of that complication becomes obvious. Access conditions of metamorph curio containment class, balance of everything of observer's light, balance injury. Only the supervisors could access the case at will. Others are limited to specific time windows. Mal learned about the blade's properties only after it caused her trouble, proof that she didn't know much about it. Her right hand was wounded by the observer's blade. Just before 6:12 on June 15th, Tia met with Mal. She had retrieved the observer's blade from the curio case and used it to launch a surprise attack. During that attack, Tia was killed by the observer's blade at 6:12 p.m. Mal had no prepared alibi for that time slot, but the murder had already occurred. All she could do then was pivot for Plan B, frame Neon. began staging the scene, but then another complication threw everything off course, which was Lizzie. According to the victim's schedule, she was meant to meet Lizzie at 7 p.m. Malin thought she had enough time to stage the perfect crime scene before then. But the silver rose withered and warned Lizzie that something was wrong, so she arrived early. And just like that, an unexpected variable walked in and upended Malin's entire plan. She had the chance to silence Lizzie right then and there, but she hesitated. There was one reason she couldn't kill her, which was just with the victim dead, Lizzie was the only one left who could lead them to the Charon substitute system. If she died too, everything Malin had done would have been for nothing. So she changed tack. Instead of killing Lizzie, she knocked her unconscious and staged this scene to frame her. As long as Lizzie was branded a prime suspect and taken to custody, they'd had time and leverage to pry the information from her. But that plan too fell apart the moment I stepped in. So tell me, did I get anything wrong? I paused and turned squarely toward the detective bot's screen. Miss Tia? Huh. I wonder how she managed to upload her mind into a detective bot. I think there's a message. Oh. A sharp crackle of static filled the air. Then it faded, and its place came a gentle voice.
いつ気づいた?
Yesterday afternoon, in the contaminated section, you overplayed your hand. Would you just so happen to trip and led us straight into that hidden lab? And inside, we just so happened to find the exact file we needed. A document detailing the Akabika Acropolis' project deterrence, built around the Leviathan. Without that file, connecting to the final dots would have been far more difficult.
それだけで?
Yeah, more or less. No, it was the file itself that gave you away. That underground lab was soaked with moisture, walls damp, air humid, but the file was already dry and crisp.
なるほど。そこでミスったんだ。このロボットにはそういうセンサーがないから全く気づかなかった。
Why the hell you stage your death? That's what I want to know. Once I realized there was a guiding hand behind it all, looking back, the rest just neatly fell into place. Take the clue we found at the Titan Science. Research materials from the Titan Science Lab. Sacks of documents filled with dense, tangled formulas, all focused on a classified prototype. Equations seemed tied to something called decompilation. Excuse me. At the time, those pages were nothing but numbers and equations, no annotations, no context, and yet Detective Bot flagged them as related to decompilation, a supposedly classified research. And that same term just happens to resurface. Resurfaced in the files you fed us later? Too convenient, isn't it? Because it was a breadcrumb, meant to steer me toward the truth. Truth. On your terms. And let's not forget the accidents. Too precise, too timely, each one circling the same point of gravity, the victim. It's hard not to wonder if she had something to do with all this. Which raises the real question. Was she ever truly dead? Or had she simply stepped into the dark to watch a guide to manipulate? And thinking about that, one can quickly discover another mistake you made. Specialized device to quantum science. Circulating to It's directly linked to YXS-233 neural control robot. For new confirmation, the robot can only function with a neural link through this device. Developed by the Quantum Sciences Lab, this unit was designed for the brain-machine interface control, allowing the user to operate through neural signals. When linked to a dedicated transmission device, the robot can be directed purely by thought. Startup log, June 15th, 550. Note, system was booted, but no record of physical movement detected. The relay was active from 5:50 p.m. and remained so for a long time. Yet the robot never moved an inch. If you wanted to live, you could have used it to protect yourself. Either Malin had attacked you on purpose or in self-defense. You could have stopped her. But you didn't, because your death was part of the plan. It made Lizzie the only remaining lead to the Charon substitute system, and too valuable to eliminate. Only by dying could you vanish from the board, unseen, unsuspected, free to pull strings from the shadows. So that neurotransmitter was your escape pod, the exit hatch into planned oblivion. That was why you activated it.
私は意識をアップロードして生き延びたと大胆な仮説を立てたわけだ。
You know, I'm surprised you didn't pull a Nikkei as you get someone to remove your brain out and put you in a robotic body that has your appearance, but with no memory whatsoever. Could have just pulled that too. But then again, this is Snowbreak and not Nikkei, so... Jeez. When the heck no, actually, I should be questioning when the hell did I pull so many Nikkei references, but pulled up quite a bit, but I think more or less than this one. Yeah, I forgot. Anyways, it wasn't leap. It was deduction. Drawn from something I've seen before. I understand your incredulity. Even staring straight at a neural relay terminal, most people wouldn't think it could actually preserve a person's mind. Because keeping a digital consciousness stable required absurd levels of processing power. I think even more complicated and a mind switch. But why split? But again, this is Snowbreak and not Nikkei. Sure, the transcendence of New Interior lived on as data after their bodies and minds shut down, but only because Genghis was there to sustain them. Yeah, Kamika Acropolis never had anything even remotely comparable. That's why no one doubted your so-called death. But for it, keeping you alive in digital form was child's play. It even went out of its way to send me a little greeting, a taunt, on my way to Pelosia. Like I'd ever forget it was watching. She was watching. Tracking our movements, feeding you intel, sending rogue machines to intercept us the moment we got too close. Only Ida could have pulled those off. Which brings me to my next question. You were supposed to be working with Tao, weren't you? Why switch sides? Why betray Tao? Actually, that's a good question. Why pull the same shenanigans like the big, like the board from Ninja Soul, like Omega, Theta, Pi, Epsilon, and Delta, I believe. Yeah, those are 5, and I mean 2 were dead, 1 is still around, And we still don't know about the other two, and quite frankly, I don't even know if we're gonna get them or get to the point where we've seen them or not, because, well, again, this game is in dire straits, because the nut jobs in China really did a good number on them by writing them out to the CCP. And especially this is a weird time for Snowbreak to get figurines, despite that there hasn't been any updates or whatsoever. Yeah. Food for thought.
もう間に合わないから。あの人たちがカローンを奪い損ねた時点で、私たちの間で保たれていた微妙なバランスが崩れた。それよりもっと前に、私が真実をユグドラシルに伝えようとしていたことがあの人たちにバレていたし、警告されたこともあった。
A message?
エリア16で理事と会ったでしょ。
I think that was the Anya event that happened before this happened.
それも私への警告だった。
I believe it was Anya and Miriam that I teamed up with when we first met Lizzie. And the coincidence was a warning. You don't say.
私が本当にそれを実行したら、理事はエリア16よりも危険な場所に行かされる。エッタが私の元を訪ねたのもその時だった。私たちは取引をした。エッタは代わりに理事を守ってくれて真実を公表し、誰のものにもならないようにギルティクラッシャーを壊してくれる。
Oh, you dumb hoe. You chose poor. You chose poorly. What did Ida want from you in return?
私のフィロゾアの木馬計画が必要だったみたい。
Because Leviathan posed a threat to the tree, and Ida wanted it gone. That was the only reason?
目的は教えられない。
Is that so? That response already told me everything I need to know.
今の私はできる限りのことを全てやった。かっこ悪いけど、これが私の全力だった。アクロポリス学院と真理を守るためのギルティクラッシャーが誰の欲にも利用されないように、人知の光は世界を良くするためにあるべきだ。
Save that speech for Lizzie. If you think she'll ever be ready to hear it.
理事にはチャンスがあれば私から説明するつもりだ。
As she spoke, her image suddenly began to flicker on the screen.
もう時間がないみたい。ユグドラシルの分析員、あなたは私のような罪人には届かない希望そのもの。あなたならできるはず。それをより良くするために。
Her voice faded. The image stuttered one last time, then vanished, leaving only silence. I stared at the now dark screen and gave a faint shake of my head that brought my focus back to the larger picture. My conversation with Tia had confirmed every deduction I made, and in her final words lay the truth I already began to suspect. Ida's plan. It was much more than just destroying Leviathan or seizing control of it. Just then, the screen of my terminal lit up with a sharp alert. Not yet, but almost there. I glanced ahead and battled through the worst of the traffic, like fighting upstream, until finally the road opened up. Vidya floored the accelerator. Her words struck me like a jolt. If the connection had been established before we arrived, there was only one explanation. Whatever was buried under the seat it had already powered on.
フリディア先輩、様子が変だよ。高エネルギー反応は分析員さんの方へ向かって移動してる。もうすぐ直下に着くよ。おかしい。ギルティクラッシャーの起動は完全に終わってないのに。
Pretty scanned the lines of code with incredible speed. Then she caught something.
まさか。分析員、ギルティクラッシャーのコアが剥離されて自分で起動を終えたみたい。今は攻撃するために力を貯めている。分析員、早く。
Her voice cracked, panic leading through. Before I could say anything, she cut herself off and drew deep, steady breath.
これくらいのことで慌てるのはダメ。私たちにとってアクシデントはそもそも任務の一部だから。リジ、分析員に攻撃が来るタイミングを教えてあげて。こっちで停止プログラムの書き込みを始めるから。
I let out a quiet laugh. With words of reassurance, I almost said biting on my tongue. That's my Fredia. That's my crazy ass professor for you. Always rising, tracing her own arc of light into something brighter, something greater. Let's do this, my little sunshine. Just like we planned, yeah? What the hell? Since when do I sound like Professor Kikui from Pokemon? Oh man, that's weird. Her gaze held steady, locked onto the screen without hesitation. She pulled out a data drive and slammed it into the port.
フィロゾアの木馬、書き込み開始。私にできるのはここまで。分析員を失望させないでね。
Watching the data stream race across the screen, she murmured softly. At the same time, Lizzie's voice rang out over the radio.
高エネルギー反応、最大値に達したよ。分析員お兄ちゃん、攻撃が来る。
Got it. Calmly tucked the terminal back into my coat and turned to video. At some point, she hit the brakes and now she was turning her gear with practiced precision. Ready, my leading lady? Ready to be a hero? Her violet eyes rose to meet mine. No fear, no hesitation. Chin high, posture firm. She was all poise and strength, face held in tension like a white swan moments before flight.
どんな時も私を信じてくださいね。
Boom. In the blink of an eye, a massive explosion erupted from below. A blast like a storm tearing upward from the depths. The bridge shattered beneath us. In that same instant, the car with Vidya and me still inside was hurled into the air. A jolt of weightlessness surged through me as we shot skyward. With flight, I kicked the door open, caught the frame, and dove out into the open air, arms wide. Far below, the entire span of the bridge, ablaze and torn apart, was plummeting toward the ocean, nearly 100 meters down.
分析員さん。
Her voice cut through the roar just as the strand of violet thread coiled around my wrist, linking me to her amid our free fall. The tether snapped taut, reeling us together midair. That's when I tried something I'd never done before. I gathered my focus, diving inward, calling up every ounce of power lying dormant within me. Hydrogen condensed, and from my back, gray wings unfurled like smoke-woven sails. It was my first time shaping it this form. Raw and untested, the wings buckled under the rushing wind until first time seeing this one. Raw and untested, the wings buckled under the rushing wind until a thread of violet spun in, winding through the gray like silk, stitching strength into the frame. It all happened in seconds. Bound by wings of gray and violet, we rode the air, skimming across the open sky toward the sea. My gaze locked on the fractured segment of the bridge, still standing above the waves. These wings weren't made for the true flight, only just enough to carry us to that raised platform. Missed it, and we plunged straight into the battlefield our enemy meticulously built beneath the sea. But the danger wasn't over. All around us, shards of metal and broken concrete hurled skyward with us. Then rang back down like a storm of meteors. Hold on tight. We pulled Vidya close, arms locked firmly around her waist. She leaned in, her body molding to mine like it had always belonged there. In that moment, there was no fear, only the rush, sharp, electric, exhilarating. We stared down danger together before. This was just one more dance. Our hearts beat in unison. Together, we dove faster. Just as the massive debris above came crashing down, we hit the platform, a jagged stretch of bridge suspended above the sea. A twist of midair impact. These bent. Memento carried us forward. Then a push, and we were back on our feet. Now, strike. Shadow engulfed the platform, fast and hurtling downward. I tore a steel rebar from the concrete, spun and hurled it upward with all my strength. It struck dead center, piercing through the falling slab with bone jar and crack. Fractured spider web outward. The impact wasn't enough to stop it. Only slowed it. Oh, excuse me. But just enough for Vidya to strike.
夢の中で分析員さんといろんなことをしてきた。別れだっていくらも経験してきたし、夢の中でその悲しみ、痛みと絶望を味わってきた。いろんな苦い結末を見るたびに怒っていた。すべてのパターンもしっかり覚えている。その悔しさと怒りはすべて私が現実で幸せを迎えるためにあるものだから。
Sharp clang rang out, one after another. Glinting metal blades snapped loose from her exosuit.
分析員さんを脅かす存在にとって私こそが一番危ない存在になります。
The next moment, a lattice of blinding arcs burst from the space before her, slicing through the slab. The shattered debris scattered like shooting stars, hurled far into the sea. Vidya. In the pouring curtain of rain, I stepped to her side, my gaze filled with the graceful silhouette of her figure as I said the words I had long wanted to say to her. Now, let's end this together.
はい。
It's time to show them who you're the hero that we all need. Oops, shit.
分析員さん、あれがします。
Ah, crap. I gotcha. Leviathan, Carabit, Devour Ball.
スティクスの渡し森の実力、その目で確かめると。 ほう、 ってやる。好機だ。
正義の夜明け。受けてみなさい。
まだ続くぞ。好機だ。闇を恐れる。まだ続くぞ。
分析員さん、あなたたちにはこれくらいで十分かと。
闇を恐れる。闇を恐れる。
闇を照らして。残念だったね、通用しなくて。
Yeah, that works too.
名探偵たるもの。見落としは禁物です。
Alright. Time to wrap this up with one final cutscene. Amid the roaring blaze, the Colossus let out a final echoing wail and vanished beneath the waves. It took the broken span of the bridge with it, sinking into the sea's cold embrace. I let my eyes linger on the spectacle scene. Have a nice stream, thank you. And thanks for the follow to Pepperoni Toss TV. Took a broken span of a bridge with it, sinking into the sea's cold embrace. I left my eyes linger on the spectacular scene a moment longer, then turned away. Beatty and I clung to the jagged edge of the shattered bridge, suspended nearly 100 meters above the ocean. Bracing myself, I channeled my power through my core, hauled myself up with a grunt, and swung the leg over the edge. Once steady, I reached down and pulled Vidya up after me. It's finally over. Let myself fall back across the bridge, limbs slack. The concrete beneath me was cold and unyielding, but the body pressed against mine was warm, soft, and faintly sweet.
分析員さん。
She nuzzled into my chest like a kitten. Her ebony hair spilled across my neck, carrying a scent that stirred my heart. Above, the clouds suddenly parted, sunlight pouring down in soft golden threads. In that shifting light, we rose together, Vidya still in my arms. She looked up, a bright smile spreading across her face.
分析員さん、私できました。
Her violet eyes shone behind the lenses, aglow with hope and triumph. Yep, you sure did, Vidya. Show him who's the true hero, like Lost. In that moment, she stood radiant in the spotlight, the perfect heroine. Yes, you did! Well done, Purple Boss. I mean, Vidya. You were amazing, Vidya. Thank you. I reached up and gently brushed her cheek, and slowly ran my fingers through her hair.
それじゃあ帰ったらどんなご褒美がもらえるんでしょう。昨日のような甘い夜でしょうか。
Oh Lord. Don't get ahead of yourself there. Cheeks cupped in both hands, she wore a coy little smile, already half lost in a daydream. I couldn't keep a resigned grin from tugging at my mouth, yet suddenly, Vita froze in my arms, her body snapping it taut as a bowstring, as though she sensed an approaching storm. I heard a crackle of jumping static, but then those electric sounds abruptly faded away, replaced instead by a voice of crystalline clarity.
はあ、タゴ、マイクテスト、チェック、ワン、ツー。みんな、聞こえてる？聞こえてるよね。特に分析員は一番聞こえてると思うけど、どうかな？今回は音響信号でもなければ電波の向こうからでもない声帯を震わせて空気から伝わってくる本物の声だよ。これが私の本当の声だから。
Her voice was silvery and crisp, and yet every word sent a chill down my spine. Biddy and I turned our eyes skyward, following the sound. And then, we saw it. No, we saw her. Huh. She's got, she seems to be grown into that. Or at least that's what I thought she would. A jagged rent split the storm clouds, blinding pillars of light pouring through the wound. And that halo. Yeah, speaking of halo. Yeah, that's tomorrow's stream, so... A slender figure hovering effortlessly between sky and earth, rosy lips curled in a playful smirk. Brilliant light danced around her, silver hair rippling and glowing in the heavenly light like a thread of spun glass. From brow to toe, her skin, smooth, pale, luminous, almost looked translucent. Shit.
愛しい分析員。びっくりして言葉も出ないみたいだね。あらら、完全にハマってたんだ。てへ。
She spoke with a slingshot lit, her smile sweet and gentle.
私、ヒントをあげたのに。私たちはいつか現実で会えるんだってね。どうやらあのでかいやつに完全にミスリードされてたよね。デンドロンを取り込む逆コンパイラ技術だって言われたから、私はそれが目当てだって思い込んじゃったでしょ。あんな技術でデンドロンを取り込むなんて妄想でしかないのにね。だって分析員はこの世で一番特別なんだもん。あんな技術と比べるなんて私に言わせるとただの侮辱でしかないよ。まあバカたちがそれを開発してくれたおかげで助かったけどね。私の技術を完全なものにしてくれて、この体を作ってくれて、
私の一部を本当の人間にして。
Uh-huh. Yeah, you're human, alright. You sure you're human?
空が青くて、海風が暖かくて、音も綺麗で心地よくて、磯の匂い、火薬の匂い、焦げた匂い。これが人間の感覚。人間の世界の感じ方なんだ。平凡でかわいそうだけど、想像力を働かせる特別感があるよね。
She twirled in midair like a debutante loosened from her velvet cage, lifting the hem of her dress with childish glee.
この前は不意をつかれたけど、今回はちゃんと準備してきたよ。もう前みたいな隙はないからね、分析員。それは何を意味するか、もうお分かりだよね。
She smiled, sweet, cherubic, like an innocent child. I understood the message. In this fresh human body of hers, she was making a declaration that it or her was whole now. Their final weakness was gone.
あなた、分析員さんの前でよくもそんな失礼な言い方を。
Kitty's eyes narrowed, her grip on her gun tightening quietly. I caught her wrist, giving a slight shake of my head. My gaze drifted back to the figure hovering in the sky, reveling in the grace of her newly minted human form. Yet, don't kill her just yet. There's something you may not have realized. Brushing aside the flicker of emotion stirred by the scene of ethereal beauty, I effortlessly regained my composure. Honestly, this development wasn't entirely a surprise to me.
あら？
The smile vanished from her lips. She tilted her head at me. You're not the only one who came prepared. In fact, I've been saving something special for exactly this moment. Standing in front of me was Ida, as a human girl. As a human girl indeed. And in her fresh, clear human eyes, I saw all details, hesitation, doubt, and even fear. And that was the opening I needed, to press further, to unravel her, to crush her. The Flossing horse wasn't just built to disable the Leviathan. You see, if I didn't lure you in with a taste of sweetness, how would I ever get you to how would I ever get you to down the poison?
つまんない。つまんないよ、分析員。あの図体だけのバカを停止させるプログラムのこと？そんなつまんないプログラム、私には何の効果もないと思うけどね。だって私は。
I do, you're Ida. Standing at the pinnacle of the particular evolutionary branch of an artificial intelligence, Ida had absolute dominance in the digital realm. But here, I would insult you with something as crude as a piece of code or protocol. Bring you down? I'll need another Ida. That's a surprise I have in store just for you. Huh. We have another Ida. Huh. So we get the blue version of Ida. So I'm gonna presume the one that's facing us is probably the red one. Evening of June 16th. before we get to any of that, I need your help with something important, Professor Fredia. I took out a small data disk. The one Dr. Tao had passed me by a Caroline.
これは小型スピンドルシステムのドライブ？
You recognized it at a glance? Impressive. When I first received it, I had no clue what it was. It took quite some time before I finally figured it out.
だって私、後からスピンドルシステムの開発に加わったから。
I gave her a wry smile, but in hindsight, all that time I spent trying to crack the riddle of my own wasn't really wasted. Tao had given it to me without explanation. Clearly, she meant for me to think it through. Figured out why she gave me this mini spindle system and what she expected me to do with it, and how it could be used against Ida. The answer I realized had been handed to me a long time ago.
エッタは分析員に一度負けました。あの性格ですから、きっとすぐにリベンジを図るでしょう。それは分析員にとってもチャンスかもしれません。
Sorry, we pick up that. We just had to adjust my mic.
分析員、一体何をした？ロジックの崩壊を感じる。
Manic contamination. When you parse the code, you parse my memories. The hooks you planted in me are now sinking into you. You are now becoming human. Human. You become a human being. And then a human going. Feel fear. You make mistakes. You're no longer untouchable. You will become intangible. I should have realized it back then. That the one and only failure Ida was persistently sore about was that she had never managed to become human. And the way she meant to fix that, having stared me in the face.
これは脅迫計画開始報告書。
How much of it do you think it's legit, Fredia?
ちゃんと読ませて。逆コンパイラしてデンドロンを逆に取り込む技術って。そんなふざけたことできるわけないよ。ただの妄想じゃん。
What do you mean?
そうだよ。現時点でデンドロンを取り込む技術なんて存在しないから。分析員は唯一取り込める人として何度も実験に付き合ってくれたよね。タウさんも前からずっと研究してきたけど、分析員にそんなことができる原理は未だにわからないままなんだもん。いくらアクロポリス学院だって無理なことは無理だから。
If Tidygen decompilation couldn't really be used to consume the trees, then why would Ida go to such extraordinary lengths to claim the Leviathan by working with Tia? If it wasn't to eliminate the threat, then what was Ida truly after?
分析員、どうしたの？黙っちゃって。
Ah, sorry. I was just working on something through my head. But I think I finally pieced it together. Last time, she lost because she wanted to become human. If she wanted a rematch to redeem her past failure, there was only ever one path the plan could take.
あなたに負ける。人間になる。もしかしてエッタのことを言ってるの？
That's right. I guess I'm left with no other options. And I'm going to need your help, Professor Fredia. That Ida trapped in the Valhalla I opened.
助けてほしいときはハニーって呼ぶのに、いらなくなったら押しのけるなんて。分析員。もう怒ったからね。
More or less. I don't think I ever called you darling, have I? I have no comments on that.
今呼んだじゃない？
Uh-huh.
嫌そうな目で見ないでよ。
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure it is.
私を長いこと閉じ込めて全然口を聞いてくれなかったのに、急になんのよ。
You want out?
あ、全然って言っても信じられないよね。でもなんで？分析員が急に優しくしてくるの変だよ。
Call it a chance. A chance to really feel it for yourself, instead of just stealing peeks from my memories.
はあ、そういうことね。なるほど、もうそこまで来たんだ。彼女、もっと言えば私が絶対予想できない手だと思うよ。でも私を外に出すということはまあいいけど、私はもう分析員にマークをつけられたから、外にいる私に受け入れられるはずがないし、それにどっちが勝っても分析員は損しないしね。
Since you figured it out, there's no need for a briefing. No need for a briefing. So, should I do it? Do it! Just do it!
そこまで言うなら付き合ってあげるよ。あいつから離れて分析員の中に閉じ込められてからやっと本当の楽しさを知ったんだ。こんなに楽しいことはもちろん存分に楽しませてもらうよ。それに私は根に持つタイプだから、もし肉体を持てたらピロゾアの木馬書き込み開始。私にできるのはここまで。分析員を失望させないでね。
よくも
分析員、約束したでしょ。彼女には私が教えるって。
私の体から出てって。
嫌だもん、私の体なんだから。
分析員、あんた嘘つき。
Cheated? Since when's that cheating? There's no rules of outsmarting you.
可愛い格好してるのに大声出したら台無しだよ。
Dang. That's true to your other half, dear. She clenched her jaw, then made her decision.
だったら
A white phantom shivered into the air. Slowly, she raised her hand, as if grasping for something unseen. My heart lurched, a prickle of danger I couldn't explain. And as if to echo the premonition, Bridia's voice burst through the comms, shaking and barely keeping it together this time.
分析高エネルギー反応再確認。今回はデートロンの方から。
We'll see a story to be continued. And let's... So, where are we at this point? So, we got Concon Word, Defiant Bloom, Allies of Visit, Beyond Elysium, and Reflection of Valor. Back from Bygone, Winds of Warmth. So, let's see here. 1, 2, 4. We're down to 6 story chapters to go. Although, I'm not too sure we're gonna make it at this point, or what next one's gonna be in store, considering that we haven't got an update for Snowbreak. So, unless something happens, yeah, like I said before, this game's in dire straits, and this could be the end of Snowbreak as I know it. And I wouldn't be fine by that, if I'm being blunt. So, we have to see what next month's gonna be in store for us. Because we're definitely gonna do those two for next month for sure. Don't know, I mean, well, Nikkei's next update's in October, so we're not too sure we're gonna visit. We're gonna go through Allies or Visitor or not. And then the Ulster chapter or story part. So, oh yeah, I forgot. And we'll talk about the music next time. Oh yeah, there's a prelude for that. So, next time on Snowbreak, if we're gonna get through it next month, because we're not gonna go through that next week because, well, gonna go through a Nia case next week. So yeah, Flosia, above the sea. The battle just now had split the cross sea bridge in two, cleaving through its kilometer-long span. A raw, gaping wound lay bare beneath the sky heavy with storm-laden clouds. Between the shattered bridge and the jattering storm, two Ediths hovered in silence. One was tall and slender, the figure of a girl, newly made flesh. The other, a wreath-like projection, small as a child. The first had only just gained her human form, yet pain twisted her features. The second lifted her right hand. Her expression is empty, devoid of all feeling. Very well. Of that, the pale phantom vanished, as if she had never existed. Wait, what are you trying to do? Even Ida's human form seemed stunned by what she had done. Beside me, Vidia's hand suddenly clenched around mine. At the moment, Vidia's urgent voice crackled through my communicator. Adjutant! We've got a second energy spike, and this one's coming from the tree. Oh, it's a bit of a repeat from the last cutscene. Her transmission was swallowed by a violent burst of static. Instinct took over. I pulled Vidia into my arms and stretched my hand out behind us, toward the tree looming in Flucia, summon Taijin and shield us from the impact. Within a heartbeat, the Taijin gathered my will, coiling around us to form a compact barrier. Then, like the sun torn from the sky, a blinding white light erupted from afar, crashing down as though to cleanse the world itself, flooding everything in sight. I could see nothing beyond the shield's edge in that searing light, but I felt it. The hydrogen contamination around us had surged to a terrifying extent. I couldn't help but worry about the girls still stationed in the frontline town. Exposed to a spike like that, even manifestations might not be able to endure it. Even though as the thought crossed my mind, the shield began to crackle. A thin fracture snaked across the surface, sending shivers down my spine. Shit. Before I could react, the shield shattered. But what washed over us wasn't heat or pressure. It was waves of dizziness, a sudden crushing sense of weightlessness. It felt exactly like the light vortex I had absorbed back in Zone 16, and understood instantly. This white light carried a flood of information. This wasn't an attack, it was. Speedy and I lost our footing, slamming hard onto the ground together. Ow. And in that moment, I caught sight of Ida's human form. She was falling from the sky like a marionette with strings cut, plummeting straight toward the sea. After a long stretch of darkness, the sea breeze passed my nose, wave after wave, slowly stirring my mind awake. Sorry about that. When I opened my eyes, the clouds that had loomed over the frontline town were gone, leaving the sky as blue and clear as the sea beyond. An uncanny stillness hung over the ruined bridge. No trace of either Ida. Only the rhythm of my own breath and Vidia's soft exhale. Ugh. Just as I was about to rouse her, her lashes fluttered, and she woke on her own. Adjutant, my head's spinning and my body feels light. Are we some kind of cruise ship? Well, it doesn't matter. I'm happy wherever I am, as long as with you. Hee. Her eyes were still clouded in confusion, so I gently cupped her face, lifting her gaze to meet mine. Vidia, focus. We're still on the bridge. Do you remember the burst of white light when Ida appeared? She gave a small, hesitant nod. That light wasn't from an energy source. It was concentrated. It was a concentrated stream of information, which is why you're feeling dizzy. Agree with me. Try to distance yourself from the dizziness in and out. She followed my lead. After a few breaths, clarity returned to her eyes. Right, Ida. Her human form. Where is she? I shook my head. Before I blacked out, I saw her fall into the sea. There's no way she would let her human form vanish so easily. She must have slipped away while we were unconscious. Still, that's not entirely a bad thing. If you're not showing any symptoms from the information stream, then Brittany and the others are probably fine too. I reached my communicator only to realize another serious problem. The frequency of contacting Brittany was dead silent. And every other channel I tried was nothing but static. Adjutant? Noticing the shift in my expression, Vidia reached up and gently stroked my cheek. Is there something wrong with the comms? And I took off the earpiece and softly wrapped my hands around hers. For now, it really is just the two of us. Still, we couldn't afford to linger on the broken bridge forever. It took us less than half an hour to make our way off the shattered ruins and back into the frontline town. From a distance, I spotted Fridia in the street, waving frantically at us on her tiptoes. Before I could even reach her, she bolted forward and threw herself in my arms. Hey shit! Fridia! Finally back! Me. Hey there, Miss Little Sunshine. How's it going? Her face was bright with relief, but her voice trembled faintly, as if she were holding back tears. I knew you'd be okay, but when the signal cut out, I just... She didn't finish her thought. Instead, she pressed her cheek firmly to my chest. Don't worry, everything was okay on our end. Feeling her warp against me, I felt a huge weight lift from my mind too. As she buried her head in my chest, I reached out and lightly touched the side of her neck. Eek, that tickles! Adjutant, what are you doing? Let's check in your condition. By the time I answered, the scan had already finished. There were no traces of Titan in her body. That confirmed it. Even those who had been protected by the Titan shield I summoned during the white flash hadn't been affected by the information surge. I made a mental note of it and gave Pretty a gentle pat on the head. What with the others? Do you regroup with them after the flash? We did, and then we got busy evacuating the nearby civilians. The other voice chimed in from behind. I turned slightly to catch Acadia's hand as it reached for mine. Behind her stood Tess and Ichil, both full of energy. Just like it instructed, I've isolated the Acropolis higher-ups we gathered earlier. I helped keep watch over them too. Most of the town's people are safe in the shelter now. We're just waiting for the Acropolis to send transport. Good work. You've all done well. Wherever we went, it was Heimdall's duty to protect the civilians. That was something I'd always lived by. It's something every manifestation under my command understood. Now the big question. Pretty, do you have any idea what caused that flash of light? I can't see for sure, but I've done some field work. I can't see for sure until I've done some field work. But based on what we've seen, there's only one explanation. The tree in Felicia is gone. Nani? An immense energy source like that has been monitored by at least 4 major devices. 4 major devices across the frontline town. We can follow the energy overflow. We can't follow the energy overflow to determine whether the tree is active or not. But now those monitors aren't picking up anything, as if the tree simply vanished into thin air. And considering how Ida reacted all the time, he gave me a hesitant glance. I nodded for her to continue. What we can conclude is this. Ida detonated the tree to create a chance for her human form to escape. That's insane. Yeah, it's insane, alright. Detonated might not be the best word, but from what we saw, Ida fragmented the tree in an instant. And right after that, the fragmented Titan swept across the region as a storm of information, knocking everyone out and leaving behind a field of static that's still jamming our comms. Everyone except Icho, who was blissfully clueless as a carefree cub, fell silent. Their expressions turned solemn as they considered the same question. Why would Ida choose to fragment an entire tree? I already knew the answer, but the girls were still lost in thought until Video was the first to speak up. Ida attacked me and the adjutants just to create a chance for her human form to get away. Which means her human form hadn't expected the adjutant to seize control of her through the Ida of his own mind. So she had to step in herself. And she used the tree's power because there were no time. It was the only source she could access instantly from the Mistletoe station. That proves one thing for Ida. Saving her human form mattered more than preserving a tree. She was willing to make a trade, sacrificing a pawn to save her queen. And the way she sacrificed the tree in Felicia tells us even more. Ida didn't trigger a direct energy burst. A tiny chain explosion would have destroyed everything for miles around. We manifestations, the addition in Ida's human form might have survived, but the civilians would have been wiped out, and the entire town leveled. The Ida caused the descent wouldn't have hesitated to destroy a city, so there must be something here she still needs, and that's what her human form is after. Exactly, grrr! Are you able to figure that out, Ichil? Ichil, you weren't even following the conversation. I ruffled Ichil's hair, and she let out a content little purr, momentarily settling down. Good. If you all thought it through this far, then Ida's real target should be obvious. We turn our gazes across the sea together. On the far shore, where the bridge had once connected, stood relocated main campus of the Akamika Acropolis. Indeed, everything had begun with the tree's activation and the Acropolis relocation, and now it seemed this was where it all ended. We would face eat it head on, at the very heart of the Acropolis. Compared to planning or execution, it was always the waiting in between that makes people the most uneasy. Alright, we'll hit the road ahead of you then. Laden with gear on her back, Rhea hopped onto the transport truck we borrowed from the Acropolis. Of course, she wanted to come with me to the Acropolis campus, but someone had to go to the tree and see what had become of it. And with the comms down, there was no one better suited for the job. The truck's window rolled down slowly, and the pink-haired bundle of energy leaned out nearly to her waist. Her signature bright smile lighting up her face. Stay safe. If the Titan contamination spikes, get back to the front line of town immediately. I reached out and ruffled her hair, cautioning her again. Don't worry, Professor Preety is now way tougher than your average researcher. That's exactly why I'm telling you not to play the hero. Also, keep an eye on Icho. Don't let her wander off while you're checking on the tree. I won't run off. I'll finish the mission and wait for you to come back, Adjutant. Her voice piped up from deep inside the truck. Since I just buckled her into the seat, all she could do now was flail her arms dramatically. Alright, I'm counting on you to see it through. And one last thing. I turn back to Fredia and give her a nod. That's the ace in the hole. If you get close to the tree, use it when the moment is right. Got it. After seeing Freddie and Isha off, I wasted no time headed straight for the Hall of Truth. Most of the students from in the frontline town had already been boarded the evacuation transports, while most of the advisors had chosen to stay. Many of them insisted on staying behind to monitor the town and maintain the communication equipment, ready to respond to any new developments. The others had stayed at my request to contact through Lizzie. They were now gathered inside the Hall of Truth. Under the watchful gaze of hundreds of eyes, I stepped into the center of the hall. Okay, first of all, allow me to express my deepest respect to all of you. As you all know, earlier today, Ida fully unleashed Patrice's energy, triggering a massive information storm, and we become an isolated island in the center of that storm. Under these circumstances, everyone here, along with those still holding the line at the research stations, has shown tremendous courage and conviction by choosing to remain. Courage and conviction. That's exactly what we need most right now. According to the agreement between Gigasol and the Acropolis, during the high-level Titan Gen crisis, I, as Heimdall's adjutant, have the authority to assume regional command and assign operational duties. But I won't be doing that. Not because I refuse to take responsibility, but because, in 12 hours, I'll be leading the team to the main campus to stop Ida's plan. The once buzzing Hall of Truth fell abruptly silent. 12 hours is only an estimate, based on what we know of the enemy's movements. Frankly, I prefer to act sooner. The sooner, the better. And that's why I've called you all here. We'll be going up against a top-tier AI, one who's desperate enough to trade a tree for her goal. One who's desperate enough to trade a tree for a goal. It'll be a tough fight for sure. And I'll be honest, I can't stand the thought of seeing any of my operatives get hurt. That's why I'm asking for your help. To push our execute's performance as much as possible. Once the upgrades are ready, we'll move out immediately. But 12 hours? It's just not enough time. I know. It's safe for us. we'll have almost no time for proper testing or training. Time is not exactly on our side, and can't exactly let Ida run rampant, so we got no choice, dude. In other words, I'm putting my trust in your expertise and in my operative's ability to master the new gear and use it to defeat our enemy. Okay. My gaze swept across the Hall of Truth, meeting the same unwavering determination in every pair of eyes. Whether it was the Juvosis pandemic 40 years ago or the Titan threat after Descent, the Acropolis has always played a crucial role as the leading research institution. Now, once again, we stand as allies, facing down the crisis that Ida has unleashed. The more we enhanced our exosuits, the better our chances of victory. Weapons are no longer just instruments of destruction, but of protection. The future of Acropolis, of Pelosia, and of the entire world rests in your hands. My thanks to each and every one of you once again. As the hall erupted with cheers and applause, I raised my fist high in the air. For victory! Till all are one, humanity shall prevail. Till all are one. On the shore, Ida's human form was kneeling in the sand, coughing violently as she fought to force the last of the seawater from her lungs. Oh, did I miss? Oh. Nope, it's just humanity shall prevail. Ugh, this human body is such pain. You should really find some fresh water, you know? Just getting out of the sea has strained you enough, let alone swallowing half of it on the way. Shut the fuck up! This is all your fault! I wouldn't be in this mess if it weren't for you, so quit acting like you care. Just so we're clear, I could care less whether you live or die. But since we're stuck sharing this body, if it gives out, we both go down with it. If it's really that hard for you, you can always hand over control for a while. I'll find a way to keep us alive. I promise. Hee hee. Shut your fucking mouth. After all the taunting, Ida's human form seemed to have found a spark of strength. She braced herself against a large rock, slowly pushing herself to her feet. She dusted off her clothes, shaking the sand from her sleeves. Then she lifted her head, her eyes fixed on the direction of the Akimika Acropolis. Just watch me. I'll finish the mission, and I'll survive. And that is the prelude, so... Okay, so... 1, 2, 3, 4 cutscenes in-game. Cutscene control. There's 27, so 2 cutscenes, an opening development. Let's see here. Cutscene capture. About 13 cutscenes because I'm counting the progress. Opening, development, capture, mid-game, 4 so far. Split chase 6, disadvantage, control 8, and in-game 9. So about 22 stages in total. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Huh. Alright then. Okay, I think I figured out what we're gonna do for the next time we come to Snowbreak. if it's still gonna be around, it is. So, all right then. So, I guess we'll wrap this up here. So, tune in tomorrow as we're gonna go through Halo 2 with Alex, and then tune in next week. We're gonna go through Nikkei, and then we'll find out if next month if Snowbreak's gonna be still operational or gonna be, well, end of service. Who knows? So, alright, that's it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this stream or this video archive of this. I'm Steve, and I'll see you guys next time.